This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Well, good day. I'm Elena Rusk. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has arrived in the U.S. to address Congress in person and hold a historic summit with President Joe Biden. The visit intended to shore up support for his country as the U.S. lawmakers are scheduled to vote on a spending package that includes about $45 billion in emergency assistance to Ukraine, along with Patriot surface-to-air missiles from the Pentagon. The trip is Zelensky's first known trip outside of his country since Russia invaded in February. We'll have much more on this visit coming up tonight at 5. And here at home, the California Department of Justice stepping in to investigate a deadly officer-involved shooting yesterday. 8 Bakersfield Police Department officers are on administrative leave following the shooting that left a man dead in southeast Bakersfield. 17's Chris Burton joins us now in the studio with the latest on this investigation. Chris, what have you now learned?
Well, Elena, the Bakersfield Police Department brought in the Department of Justice after new details emerged in this shooting. Now, this all started near Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary yesterday morning. Police say that's where a man was waving around a pistol. When officers approached the man, police say shots were fired. BPD would not confirm whether the man shot at officers, but they did confirm he discarded the handgun while fleeing, and that's likely why the Department of Justice was alerted. According to BPD, when 8 officers shot and killed the man after he fled from the initial confrontation, he was armed with a knife only. Under a bill passed in 2020, the Department of Justice is required to investigate any police shooting of a person not armed with a deadly weapon. A BPD spokesman tells me knives may or may not fit the description of a deadly weapon based on the context of their use, and so the DOJ was alerted, quote, based on an abundance of caution. The BPD is involved in one other investigation of this kind. It stems from an officer-involved shooting in August of 2021. I'll have more tonight on 17 News at 5, but for now, in studio, Chris Burton, 17 News.
All right, thank you, Chris, for that update. In other headlines around Kern County, CHP officers investigating a violent crash just north of Bakersfield that left a toddler with major injuries. It happened on James Road near Highway 65 about 5:30, involving 3 vehicles. The CHP says the toddler was in a car seat, but it's not clear if that seat was properly secured inside the vehicle. No word on other possible injuries or how this crash may have happened. And now to our 17 follow-up file. New details emerging in the investigation involving a body that was found off Highway 99 over the weekend. The California Highway Patrol says officers went out to Highway 99 near Hosking just before 5 a.m. Saturday morning, where they found the body of a woman that had been set on fire. Investigators say that woman had light complexion with dark brown hair, a nose ring, and she was about 20 to 40 years old. She has not yet been identified and will continue to follow this case. It's been 2 years since a pair of brothers were reported missing in California City in what has now become a murder mystery. Orrin and Orson West were aged 4 and 3 years old when they were reported missing in December 2020. Their bodies have never been found. Earlier this year, the boys' adoptive parents, Jacqueline and Trezell West, were arrested and charged for their murders. The trial set to begin next month. Now, a vigil will be held tonight for the missing boys. It's happening at 5 p.m. outside the courthouse on Truxton Avenue here in Bakersfield. 17's Marco Torres will be there with more tonight on KGET at 5. The Bakersfield-Kern Regional Homeless Collaborative and Mayor Karen Go gathered this morning in memory of the people experiencing homelessness who died this year. Research shows homeless people are 3 to 4 times more likely to die than the general population, and studies across the world have confirmed the relationship between a lack of housing and increased mortality. That's why community members and local leaders came together for the Homeless Persons Memorial Vigil at the historic Union Cemetery today to remember the lives of those who have died through prayer, reflection, and music. All right, meanwhile, the Bakersfield-Kern Regional Homeless Collaborative has launched a countywide effort to recruit 500 volunteers for the 2023 Point in Time Count. The annual PIT provides a snapshot of homelessness here in Kern County. Results are used to allocate resources to address homelessness and apply for federal and state funding. The Homeless Collaborative says volunteers are critical in identifying and counting the number of unsheltered people experiencing homelessness in our city. So the point in time count happening Wednesday, January 25th. For more information or to sign up, head over to bkrhc.org. Coming up tonight on 17 News at 6, our California Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace will have more on the state's point in time count.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
A recount effort in one of the closest state Senate races ever is now officially underway. As we've been reporting, fewer than 24 votes separate incumbent Democrat Melissa Hurtado and Republican challenger David Shepard for the 16th Senate district race. Shepard petitioned for a recount of the ballots in Kern County, and this morning the elections office began that process. Shepard was required to pay for the recount in advance. The election office says that this is public and organizations are invited to observe the process. 17's Maddie Gannon will have more on this recount later tonight. All right, in other news around the state, it has been 20 years and a California judge has rejected a new murder trial for Scott Peterson in the death of his wife and their unborn child. The decision yesterday comes nearly 20 years after he was charged with dumping the bodies of his pregnant wife Lacey and the unborn child they planned to name Connor into the San Francisco Bay. That was back on Christmas Eve, 2002. Peterson alleged that the resulting trial that gripped the world was tainted by a rogue juror who lied about her own history of abuse to get on the panel that initially sent him to death row. The Superior Court judge found yesterday that juror Rochelle Nice did not commit enough juror misconduct to require a new trial for Peterson. And as we continue that news around the state, tens of thousands remain without power after a powerful earthquake rocked a rural stretch of the Northern California coast yesterday. 12 injuries have been reported from that magnitude 6.4 earthquake that hit early Tuesday near Ferndale, that's just south of Eureka. Authorities say 2 deaths during or just after the quake were due to medical emergencies. Officials say there was some damage to buildings, but the scale of the damage is actually minimal compared to the strength of the quake. All right, now to some news around the nation. Airlines and passengers bracing themselves for the worst of a winter storm, expecting to cause a huge mess for those traveling with loved ones for the holiday season. NBC's Tom Costello has the latest from Chicago O'Hare.
Good day from the country's 3rd busiest airport, Chicago O'Hare. It has been crazy. In fact, they have 4 terminals here at Chicago O'Hare, and they are expecting to be at 2019 passenger levels or within a whisker of it. Nationwide, this is going to be the big travel day without storm interruption. The big storm starts rolling into the Midwest, affecting major airports as soon as tomorrow, into tomorrow night, into Friday. And so now many people are trying to get out ahead of that storm. Airlines are dropping their change fees, encouraging people, change your flight now. If you were going to try to fly out on a Thursday or a Friday, try to get out now, because the storm could very well cause major disruptions to airports along the upper Midwest, into the Great Lakes, and then up into the East Coast. In total, 7.3 million of us are going to be flying from now until January 2nd. The vast majority of Americans, though, who are traveling, they're going to go by road. 100 million people on the roads, and they, in many cases, will be braving the slick streets and the blowing snow and the high winds and the rain and ice. It's going to be a very difficult few days of travel starting tomorrow, all into the weekend, not just in the upper Midwest, but we've got a major storm system, of course, developing in the south. The bottom line is, if you are traveling and if your flight is canceled at the last minute, experts say try to rebook yourself online or on the app. That way you don't stand in a long line at the airport waiting to talk to an agent. Get on the app. You can usually rebook pretty quickly. And if you are going to be traveling, remember, it's a cliche, but there's a reason for the cliche. Pack your patience. You're going to be traveling with hundreds of thousands of fellow passengers at airports nationwide. In total, more than 2 million every single day are going to be going through TSA checkpoints. Back to you.
Victory Outreach Bakersfield is giving away more than 2,000 toys to local kids. The church says this giveaway is a gesture of love and kindness at a time when we all need to be helping one another. So it's happening at 6 p.m. this evening at their church on New Stein Road. Registration begins at 5. Just bring your child there. The church says there will be a brief message after the registration, and then they'll hand out the toys until they're gone.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.